I am the luckiest person for today's casual. I have Irish Granny Tarot joining me.
Hello. Thank you. That's very
Hello,
good.
Helen.
Hello, Gerald. How are you?
I'm
Thanks
well. Well, thank you. And, we already scheduled another time next month for you to come back on my channel.
Oh, we did?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Well, we'll have to talk after this.
I was just like good. Yeah.
Just to refresh
I was like, she's forgotten. But this episode is now with more laughs because you know what? It's Helen and Gerald. We're going to be laughing a lot.
Humor is a survival skill, and we both come from large families. We had no choice. Sink or swim, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I'm Tarot Stash, by the way, in case people don't know me. And what I always do, Helen, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance.
Really? Yes, indeed.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
We do have some people watching.
Oh.
And so Plucky Heroine is here.
And I need to apologize right from the beginning. My eyesight is really bad, and also my attention span. I cannot watch people scrolling and saying things and have a conversation, and I can't see the comments. So you're not going to get a reaction from me if you say hello to me. I'm not being rude.
No, it is my job to make sure that you have what you need in order to be able to respond to people. So I'll put people's stuff up and then I will read it so we both can hear it.
And can I borrow $20? Since
I'm sorry, what? You shouldn't humble when you talk.
I almost fell for it.
She almost fell for it. We have Aspasia Rising, Beth.
Pretty, yeah. Very pretty. Bye.
And Plucky Heroine says, I tuned in for more laughs.
Okay, we will deliver.
Quiltessa is here. Hello, Quiltessa. Great to see you.
Oh, what a cute help. I'm going to take a wild guess and try to figure out your hobby. Wait a second. I'm psychic. You make quilts, right?
There you go.
I think that is so cool.
Well, and people who have been watching me, people know that I was actually not online last week because I was away teaching or facilitating a 3-day immersive color confidence workshop for quilters.
I've seen your work. It's phenomenal. You are talented. I'm so impressed. The hardest part of quilting is trying to get all the edges to line up.
That's why I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So,
let's see. Are you a Taurus? Because Tauruses have a hard time with that. I like everything to be,
Scorpio.
Oh, so you're more mystical and that's all I know. I don't know anything about astrology.
Garnet is here. Great to see you. Rossi has joined us, as has Vicky Howell.
Hello to everybody.
Yes. Patricia Bardell. And let's see who else do we have. Christine Gumson.
Yeah.
Yes. And Quiltessa, I taught it in Millersburg, Ohio at Chestnut Ridge. It was a really wonderful experience. Everybody, I have to tell you, one of the things that was great about this, Helen, it truly reminded me of the things that I'm very good at. I spent 20 years of my career doing training and development and training customer service.
Yeah.
And I really missed the interaction. It was so wonderful. So wonderful.
Well, you should probably take that as a hint.
Trust me. I've taken it as a hint. I'm already planning to do the sessions, the workshops a couple more times.
Excellent.
Maybe go elsewhere. And we have at least 2 spin-off classes from it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And Linda De Gonzalez is here. Hello.
Hi.
Good to see you. And Mary Thornberry. And then Roxy is here. So we're chatting, Helen and I.
Yeah.
And the first thing I wanted to say is for people who have missed it, gee, was it about a month ago, the Psychics for Democracy?
Oh, right. I already forgot. Yeah, it was a 24-hour fundraiser for Harris Waltz, and Deborah Lupien, the voice of the Akashic Records, incredible amount of work she did.
Oh,
I
yes.
was like the person who runs around and fetches the coffee. She did
Yes.
so much, because a lot of it had to do with technology, and that's magic as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
So yeah, she worked herself to the bone. I can't believe she never slept in 24 hours. I got 2 hours of sleep. I was great. After 25 years of having small children around the house, who
Yeah.
sleeps, right? But Deborah just went without any rest at all.
Yeah,
It was
it was crazy. It was
yeah,
crazy.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was great. And we made just under $10,000.
That's really beautiful. And I wanted to say one of the things that I found really wonderful about it is the videos that you and Deborah did, speaking to the founding fathers. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is where I'm going to heap praise in your general direction. Tell me you are ready.
Sure.
Okay. I can tell, I know you're an extremely intelligent person. You're very articulate. You are extremely thoughtful, because the questions that you were asking of the founding fathers really, really well thought out. And it was just, I thought it was so good. So good.
I don't want to take credit entirely for the idea. I have a chunk of newspaper pasted to my pantry door in the kitchen downstairs. It was in our large city paper about 10-15 years ago. They printed it for the 4th of July. And it said, which is so interesting, in the newspaper, celebrate our non-Christian nation. And it had the portraits, the formal paintings of all of these founding fathers with really interesting quotations underneath. And every day I look at that and I just think about it, and I've talked about it before. I know for a fact that most people are unaware. For example, George Washington was not religious, did not believe in religion and government mixing, refused to take the oath of office on a Bible. That shocks people. I love it. When he was dying, he mustered enough energy to kick the priest out of the room. He wanted nothing to do. Lots of interesting stories. Some of the best are from the people you would least expect, the quotations, about religion. Benjamin Franklin, you can depend on Benjamin Franklin. Here's my favorite story about Benjamin Franklin, and there are many. When they were deciding on the currency for the paper money, right? There was all kinds of argument what to put on the paper money. And, they settled on "In God We Trust." Well, he was absolutely vocally against that. This is the honest to God, what he wanted to put on the money? Mind your own business.
I love
For that alone, I love Benjamin Franklin.
I love it. And we have had a few more people come in. Moonchild has arrived.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And Christine said that it was amazing. The
thing. Thank you. That's great.
Yes. Jane the Seeker has arrived. Jane the Seeker Tarot. And Sylvia from Color for Foresight. And we have Brian from
Blushing Nerd. Well, I hope you got your fainting couch ready.
No, I actually think Blushing Nerd Tarot can handle it, so it'll all be good. Now, when we got backstage, Helen was opening some decks.
Oh,
do you want to show people what you got? And you
yes,
can say
I will.
no.
I don't usually buy a lot of tarot cards. I'm too cheap. Actually, cheap is the other word for poor. But they were having sales.
You're frugal.
Frugal, yeah, yeah. I until recently made jokes about, if they get rid of Social Security, it's a good thing we have 2 very fat little dogs, that they'll make a good meal, but I don't make that anymore. Yeah, I know. Uh, so because I've been doing more evening shows on Saturdays with Sherry, and she's always pulling out these really profane oracle cards. I promised her that I'm always the adult in the room. I promised her I would try to find some good oracle cards. So I got, let me see where the boxes are. What did I do with the boxes? Oh, here they are right in front of me. Actually, that tells you a whole lot, doesn't it? It came in a plain box. This is the avocado oracle. And I was telling him, my children are all, they're adults, and they're all of that age where avocados are the main food group. They're all vegan or vegetarian, and it's all about the avocado. So I thought this was really funny. Have a good cry, heartbreak, have a good cry, and let it go. And I just thought they were kind of clever. And then I got this one. I was expecting something a little less meaningful. This is the Trash Animals Oracle. And I thought it was going to be kind of off the hook, right? It's actually a little more serious than I expected. For example, and anyone who knows this animal will understand this, the raccoon conversation. Raccoons chatter. They talk back and forth. They get in our apple tree, and they have families of them, and they have these intensive conversations in the middle of the night. So interesting little oracle, inspiration and guidance from chaotic creatures. And I also got a couple that I'm saving for Halloween. And if you want to see them, you're going to have to watch on Halloween. We have something really fun up our sleeves. Deborah and I do.
Oh, do you? So everybody should like and subscribe to Irish Granny Tarot.
Thank you.
Her link is below. If you would like to verify that you are subscribed to my channel, that would be great. And I also have in below links to how you can support both of our channels.
Oh, nice.
You can get private readings from me. You can make a donation. This is all good. So
I also have a Substack. Are you familiar with Substack?
I am familiar with Substack. Do I have your Substack listed in there?
I don't know. I can't see. I don't know. It's called Ask Your Irish Granny. It's an advice column. And because we've run out of problems, everybody's lives just seem so perfect. It's very hard for me to get people to write their problems. It's all very anonymous. I change locations, ages, whatever it takes to anonymize the letter that I get. I've even used family issues, and they're all mad at me, But lately, I've just been once a week or so doing an opinion letter and just telling people, okay, this is how it is from your Irish Granny. This last week, I did a funny one. I felt like we all needed to have our spirits elevated a little bit. So I wrote some limericks. Hilarious. If I do say so myself, let's just say I had a good time doing it. It was fun.
Very nice.
But everybody check your subscriptions to anybody that you're interested in, because I think the Georgia Electoral Board is in charge of the YouTube subscribers stuff, because they keep sweeping it clean every time you turn around. My subscriptions look like somebody with a bad heart. They're like this.
Yeah. Oh my.
I don't understand it. It's crazy.
Yes. And Brian, Blushing Nerd Tarot, said, we have a family of raccoons that chatter away in our mulberry tree at night. It's hilarious.
You can see them in the dark. The mother raccoon will cross the street, and they kind of, they're always on guard. So they always look a little furtive. And then she'll have this little row of babies after her. It's the cutest thing. I don't mind if they are predators in my garden. I don't care. The deer come. I don't care. Yeah. I have a lot of neighbors who really don't like it, but.
Eleanor said, ran out of problems. I'm sure I can help with that.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. And, Tessa, there once was a girl from Nantucket.
Oh, dear. Well, I should have used that I did one on Melania, but, she's not from Nantucket.
Debbie from Three Shifting Veils is here.
It was hard to find a rhyme for USSR. No, sorry.
Oh, my gosh. And Maureen is here.
Hi.
Hello. And Jane said Harris got left off the ballot in some state. It may have been a nightmare.
This is not true. Really, is this true?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, people will have to do write-ins.
Yes.
But that's really expecting a lot of people.
Oh, Jane said it may have been a nightmare.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. So because Helen and I will talk about anything.
Oh, sure.
I have been thinking, well, that's true, isn't it?
My life's an open book. I mean, to the point where I have no filters. It's kind of bad. Yeah.
That's all right. That's why we keep getting back together. Jane, yes, it is true. Can't remember which state, and Jane is going to be finding out which state.
That's your homework.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Eleanor said in Florida, some ballots were misprinted and listed Tom, not Tim, and it was Montana.
Oh, well, there's a big shockaroo.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Florida. Did you hear what happened in Florida a week and a half, 2 weeks ago?
No, what happened?
I don't remember now what the petition was about. Probably abortions, probably. But there was a petition circulated. They had a gazillion votes, and the Republicans got all the names and went door to door to the houses of people who signed the petition and just said, we see you signed this petition. We want to get your information and keep it on file.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to bum you out.
No, I mean, yeah, okay. And Kaylee said this is a filter-free zone, so you're encouraged to be able to. And we're after hours, and we're 17 minutes and 30 seconds in. So
People should know better at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I've done, Helen, and just so that you realize, I've been thinking about this show since last week. I'm like, going, oh, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? So what I've done is I have put on here on these numbered little pieces of paper, 9 different topics.
Okay.
And I'm letting Helen, I mean, we'll go through all 9 if you want.
Oh,
but
absolutely. Okay.
So,
my favorite number. Pick my favorite number.
Yes.
Because you can all do all kinds of weird things with mathematically. 9. And it's also a spiritual number. 9.
Yes. And it's actually my birth numerology. 9.
Well, there you go. Okay. It's inevitable.
There you go. And so let's talk about bibliomancy.
I don't know what that is. Is that telling the future, reading the Bible?
Bibliomancy is using books for divination. It was often done with the Bible.
Oh, people will just take a book off the shelf, open it, and what they point to, that's,
Yep.
Yes, I do remember that. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
No.
Okay.
Want me to do it?
Well, I was just going to say, do you read much?
Oh, shut up. I happen to have a book right here that I'm preparing for, a Saturday book, and I won't spoil it. I like the only fun. Now this sounds so sad, but one of my favorite things to do is to keep the book a secret until the last minute.
Yes.
It's a big thrill for me. That's very sad. I know.
I like that.
So this book, I will tell you this, it's about Pentagon and UFOs. Okay, so I'm randomly picking a page here. Okay, I'm pointing to a page, to a sentence. Now, do I pick one word?
You can read that sentence,
Okay,
or you can pick one word. She does not have her eyes.
I don't have my glasses on. This is what happens when you get old. Okay. Oh God. Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
This is about nuclear science.
Okay. No, but this.
Okay.
This is
So,
good.
Hal suggested that in addition to hydrogen and oxygen, liquid water, which isn't that redundant, liquid water? Because when it's not liquid, it's not water. It's ice or it's
Correct.
gas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
gas.
Liquid water has small amounts of the hydrogen isotope deuterium in the form of D20, a significant ingredient for nuclear fusion energy generation. I'm so sorry. I was hoping to get something a little more alien.
No, but I think, you know, and yes, our art Nancy, Bibliomancy is very cool.
Yeah.
And Gray has joined us. So, and Kiba is here. Hello, as well as Linda Bishop.
I love that name. Oh, hi, Linda.
And yeah, Quiltessa's like, now that's a Saturday read. So
it's actually a really good book. It's intense and it's gonna make your hair curl. Yeah.
Kaylee said, water creates and holds energy. Aqualite is proof of that. Aqualite is a healing modality for water.
Oh.
So very interesting.
Of course, water. Yes, of course it would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Kendra's journey. Good to see you. So yes, oftentimes bibliomancy was done with the Bible, and people would, in their contemplation, they would hold their question in their mind, and then they would open the Bible to a random page in a verse.
Yeah, because I know that was actually in the Jewish religion. There's something about telling prophecy through, you know, the Torah, picking out random things.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you can do it with anything.
It's a part. What it is it provides a focus.
It does. It does. Yeah. And if you're like me, perhaps you are a person who creates your own bibliomancies.
Oh, how beautiful!
Create different stickers.
Gosh, I love that. It's a little bit Sergeant Pepper, a little bit Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And so it's one of those things that you can, you know, some people might say this is like junk journaling. I completely understand that. It's the creation. But so I have created some bibliomancy things that I will do readings with. And if you want to see my first one.
I do, yeah.
Some people have seen these before, but this is my first one.
Whoa.
And I had a bit of fun, and I was really introduced to bibliomancy from Tangi, who was on YouTube. But I went through and I glued down stuff.
Well, would you look at the page you just came to? The nuclear, the atom thing. What did I just read? Isotope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep. So
see, I don't believe in coincidences.
No, but then, you know, there's pages and stuff like that. So how I use this is I would hold the question in my mind, and I've done this with Ramon and Linda. I've used these bibliomancy books as a way to focus. And so as I open a page, what is it that first captures my attention? And then I read with that. So
it's
there you go.
So creative, and it's really heartening to know that there are people out there who are moving beyond Netflix and chill, you know.
Oh, well, I'll
still good with the Netflix
it's and chill.
Well, yeah, but you know, it's not your only thing you do. I've been being encouraged lately to write. And I always feel I don't have a voice, but I have had a dread for a very long time that we are so much moving to digital writing that, you know, in 100 years, there's going to be no record of what people thought and what daily life was like. And there will be no Anne Frank diary, because all these digital things, they're going to get changed and evolve and wiped out, and it's going to be not a thing. Or the format will no longer be accessible. It's like, what are you going to do with an 8-track tape?
Correct.
You know? Right.
Yeah.
So I just today, it came. I ordered a pack of spiral notebooks, and I'm going to start attempting to keep a record of what's going on. And I'm only sorry I didn't do it during COVID. But probably just as well. It was too bleak. But I'm going to try to keep a record just for future reference.
That's beautiful. I am personally, I will say this. Hello, my name is Gerald. I'm obsessed with composition books. Those are the cool ones. I have a
Gerald, first you have to admit you have a problem.
Yes. Well, it's not really a problem because they're not falling on me and they're not covering me. But I love me a good composition book. It just makes me
a blank page is really everything.
Yes. So I want to get caught up in the chat because Kaylee said that's what she took from that passage that you shared. That water creates and holds energy, and Aquila is proof of that. So that's what Kaylee did. And
I hate to admit that I had absolutely no idea what it was talking about. I mean, I know what an isotope is. That's about it. So I had no idea.
Yeah. And Linda Bishop is water is life. We are mostly water. Yes, we are. I did a laugh and learn with Tanis about water and all that stuff. So that is on my channel on the Laugh and Learn playlist. So, and a lot of love for the Bibliomancy. Yeah, Jane's like calling me an overachiever. And yes, Brian, I always think of Tangi when Bibliomancy comes up. Miss seeing her on YouTube. Yep.
Now she had, I have to fully confess, I watched everybody before I did my own channel. And I've dug myself a hole and I can't get out of it. I have no time. It's terrible. I don't, all the people that I absolutely admire and respect and love, enjoy, if I didn't talk to them, I would never, I just don't have time. It's all I can do. I don't even watch my own, which you can probably tell by the quality of the production.
Yeah.
I don't have time. It's terrible.
Yeah. And time is a commodity. So, I mean, it's like, where do we put it? And I think it's really, really important that we value our time. So, but anyhow, okay. So Bibliomancy, give it a try. See what you think.
That's really interesting.
It's a fascinating thing. And I think it's almost the same as Audiomancy, which is when you're playing the radio.
Yeah.
And you randomly select which song or, I used to, I still have a 6 CD changer or 5 CD changer, put 5 CDs in there and then you press random. And it's like, okay, that's the message that I need to hear. So,
well, I kind of have a form of bibliomancy happening in my life. I would not have known that that's what I would have called it. I'd call it, synchronicity. So we cover these books once a week and I never have a plan. I just sort of pick books that seem interesting to me or books that present themselves. And 99% of the time they present themselves and they do it in a connected way. It's bizarre. And I do not plan that. Let me give you an example. I had Tia Levings on a couple of weeks ago. We did her book, How to Train Up a Wife. And it was about her escape from an abusive fundamentalist marriage. And the book was dense with her recovery. And we actually didn't talk a whole lot about that because I wanted to focus on political issues, But some of the stuff she talked about were the therapies that she attempted to heal the trauma. And she talked a lot about religious trauma in the book. Well, lo and behold, I had a book here that I've had for a year waiting for the right moment. And it's all about healing post-traumatic stress and healing trauma through different modalities. Things like, and I can never remember the name, forgive me, but the thing where you move your eyes, the eye movement.
EMDR?
I think that, that's probably what it's called. I can never remember. And there are other varieties of treatments like that, and they've been proven to be very helpful with different kinds of trauma. And these two books fit seamlessly one after the other, and I didn't plan it.
I think that's beautiful, and that is one of those things. When we are open to the possibilities and the synchronicities, we notice them, and they can help support us. I think I agree with you.
And, I have a question for you, Gerald.
Yes.
When you have a really broad variety of very entertaining things on your channel, how do you decide what you're going to do next?
Part of it is I decide of what the topic is, because I try to keep a regular schedule.
You sure do.
So like, I try to keep a regular schedule. So most of my stuff Mondays and Tuesdays, and I have some regular shows that I do.
Mhm.
But I actually have. Hi, my name is Gerald. I have a notebook. This is just the notebook from stuff that I started on Friday, August 16th of 2024. So I am always writing stuff down, and in conversations like
Organized.
this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And so like conversations like this, I get, oh, that's a really interesting topic. I just sort of try to get it into the schedule.
That's how I roll. And it's usually from when I go for a walk, I'll listen to news, or I'll listen to progressive news channels that are not mainstream, or I'll listen to podcasts.
Yes.
And I've gotten some of my favorite topics just doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I decide based upon topics. Sometimes, well, a couple of them, not a couple, a lot of the shows, in particular for the Laugh and Learns, where I want to learn about a topic while enjoying the people that I'm with. So there's laughter, because I think we retain more when we're laughing and enjoying ourselves and raising our vibrations. But I think some shows, it's like, well, this came up because of a show that, you had said the best chatters wanted to learn more about this. Sure, I'm willing to explore that. I know I'm not an expert.
Oh,
I'm not an expert
me neither.
and so
I'm just good at researching stuff. I just look things up and people go, oh, how did you find that out?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can hardly work the Google, but somehow I manage, Interesting you would bring that up, because that's been a conversation that's presented itself recently quite a bit. Like I said, I just did that Substack that was, for fun. I think humor is therapeutic. I think humor is necessary. And at this moment, we need more of it. And an awful lot of people take themselves far too seriously. You can be a serious person, and you can be concerned about important things and still make jokes and maintain a sense of humor. It's what keeps us sane, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Gray. That is very sweet. Gray said, I had no idea what a great host you are.
He even asked me if I had tea or something. I was expecting you to reach through with a cup of coffee, through the
I don't have your address, and what is it? The soot ash or something like that. I can't go through, I can't use that powder. Something like that, the Harry Potter stuff. So.
Such a wonderful host.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm like, oh, you're on my channel. Okay, let's talk.
Yeah. Well, but I think you are right. I think if we have forgotten the sense of joy and the silliness that can help to lighten all of our loads, or just help us to have a moment and get our perspective back.
That's right.
Because I think a lot of times people are, I knew, people sometimes they get so caught up, they can't see left or right. They're only on this one thing. And I think a laugh for me is one of those things where it just causes us to stop, take a sip of water, and look around and look up. And
cathartic, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's therapeutic. The old folks don't say, laughter is the best medicine for nothing. It's true. Why do you suppose they criticize so heavily Vice President Harris laughing? Why do you suppose?
Because they were jealous that he could laugh.
Well, because they know that when she laughs and brings everybody in with it, it's healing, it's unifying, and it's healing. They can't have that. And the extra layer is because she's a woman, and everything women do are, it's up.
All right. For when that argument comes up, everybody who is easily offended, look away. I have a great gesture for that.
I salute you too, Gerald.
I mean, I'm not doing that to you. I'm doing that to people.
No. I understand. I
Yeah.
understand.
Kaylee said, a new quote I heard from Christopher Reeves. I knew that if I could laugh, I could live.
Now, there was an interesting relationship between him and his wife. She took unbelievable care of him after his terrible accident and died so shortly after he died. I always thought that that was a karmic connection that we saw playing out. So interesting.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Silliness is essential. Life is too short for tunnel vision. Sometimes we need to be on our podiums, but most times those podiums can knock us down. Laugh, live, love, be kooky.
Yep.
And laughter does raise the vibration.
Unless you're laughing at somebody else's expense. And that's the difference right there between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. She laughs with you. He laughs at you.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's when someone uses humor to demean another person, I have no tolerance for that. It's just gross.
Oh, let me recommend, speaking of using humor to demean somebody, let me recommend the whole entire slate of new ads by the Lincoln Project. I just stumbled on them today, and I'm subscribed. No, I don't have time. I don't get to anything.
Yeah.
Waiting to do this. I just happened to watch them. Oh my God, they're epic. Somebody has finally gotten a clue, and they're addressing Trump on a level that will really hit him where it hurts. They did a fantastic one about his ridicule of Tim Walz's son. And it was a beautiful thing, that ad, absolutely beautiful. And they also did an ad a couple of days ago called Monster. It's only a little over a minute. Everybody needs to watch it. It made me cry, and that takes something, I gotta tell you. It was beautiful. Oh, wow. Yeah, beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. And Jane mentions Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Oh, yeah, my favorite. That's taking pleasure out of other people's misfortune.
Yeah, I was actually I have that as a word, but I don't have it right here.
Yeah, so shoot, hard to spell because it's German. You know.
Yes.
About 16 extra letters that you don't really need. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think there is nothing that serious going on here. Abraham Hicks. Yeah. And it is one of those things that, when I am doing that and people, I never want to demean someone else, and heaven forbid that if I've done that and I didn't know that that's what I've done, I'm so sorry about that.
You feel terrible. Yeah.
First to apologize and try to mend that bridge. So,
well, there's a difference, Gerald. If you aggressively and intentionally pursue demeaning or belittling or ridiculing, that's one thing. But here's an example of it just presenting itself to you, and it can't be helped. The vision of Trump going up the airplane steps with the toilet paper stuck to his shoe. Laugh all you want, because that's not something that you created intentionally to put someone down. That's just the universe has a sense of humor.
Well, yes, and I firmly believe that the universe does have a sense of humor. It's my job to realize that that's what's happening, and that's my warning to lighten the F up.
Valentine's Day last year, I wanted to do a special show for Valentine's Day, and I didn't want to be all schmaltzy. I was on my walk and I was thinking, God, what could I do? Romeo and Juliet. And then it came to me like the Holy Ghost descended on the top of my head. And I had this idea. I'm still very proud of this. Go back and watch that show. A rose by any other name. And I thought, people's names are often inadvertently just right on. I mean, Trump? Come on, right? So I just took a whole lot of famous people, and either their name is obviously just hilarious considering who they are, or the meaning of the name, because names, come from other languages, come from mythology, whatever. Like Kamala Harris's name comes from Asian Indian mythology, right? It's a goddess, right? Or a characteristic that you like to have. I don't remember right now. What does Gerald mean?
Mighty with a sword, if I remember correctly.
Oh my God, that can go in a variety of ways.
Well, thank you.
I'm sorry, Gerald.
And
do you need some smelling salts?
No, I don't. Yeah, that's blushing nerd tarot. And let me tell you, my sword looks huge next to these tiny hands.
God. I've given him permission. It's Pandora's box, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
There you go. Well, you made Water Lily laugh. So what does Helen mean?
Well, this is ironic in a lot of ways. I was offended by this name for very, very many years until somebody recently pointed something out to me. So the name Helen is from the Greek. It was a compromise in my family because there were a lot of Ellens and Eleanors on both sides of the family, and my parents were afraid of pissing anybody off. So they called me Helen, and it means light. And for many, many years, I was like, okay, you don't need to remind me that I'm not, I was just insulted for a very long time. And not that long ago, someone said, no, well, wait a minute. What about light, like illumination? Do you know, I'd never thought of that. I was so busy being offended, being insulted and taking offense that I never thought of that. So now I'm okay with it.
Good. I'm glad you're okay with that. And this just in, everybody. JL just snorted.
Great. Our job here is done, Gerald.
Our job here is done. And here you go. Here, let me show this.
Today's video is brought to you by the word Schadenfreude. Everyone say it with me. Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. Enjoyment obtained from the troubles of others. Do you experience Schadenfreude when I have to figure out a way to include today's word into asking you to like, share, and subscribe? Schadenfreude.
That was easy, Gerald. That was so easy.
It was just, yeah.
Irish Granny says, if you neglect to do a thumbs up on Gerald's channel, I will experience Schadenfreude. No, I wouldn't. Not at all.
No, I just think it's fun. And by the way, people in the chat are explaining what their name relates to. So,
oh, okay, great. Let's hear it.
Oh, and well, here, this just in. Linda said, related to
drinking the tears of my enemy. Schadenfreude is. Oh.
Schadenfreude. Wow.
Because Linda, actually, and I'm sure she knows this, considering the rest of her name, it means pretty or beautiful. Belinda,
Duh. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yes.
We didn't need to say that. The picture,
No.
Yeah.
Jane
means sweater.
Froxine is the American version of
Euphrosyne, which is one of the Greek graces. Yeah.
Oh,
nice. The three cups, the three of cups, and you see the three. That's kind of what that refers to.
Yes. And Jane the Seeker said if I had a girl, I was going to name her Helen.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm flattered. I don't know why. I'm flattered.
Kaylee says my name means the joining of clans.
Oh, Kaylee. Yeah, I know it as a dance, like a dance party. In Irish is a Kaylee is when you have a group of people and it's all about the dancing, the music, and the dancing.
Mm-hmm. And Water Lily says my name is Sandra, protector of humanity.
Oh, I wonder where that comes from. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Linda says my name means beautiful princess.
Get this, you're of royal lineage from the 1930s.
Very nice.
Oh, I wonder who.
Oh, mine is Barbara, Beautiful Stranger.
Oh, I didn't know that. What? What? I
This is
love
the
word
word-
origin.
This, you know,
Moist.
people have, you know, I have actually, one of the first times I used the word moist, and people dislike that word. And
so
look, see, there you go.
not moist.
Yeah.
There's something about it that just hits the nerve endings just wrong. Spanish and Portuguese. Oh, okay.
Oh, and this my husband is here. Jeffrey says, Jeffrey, promise of peace or God's peace. There you
I think
go.
what he's really talking about is when you're there and he's there, it's God's peace, right? Right.
Oh, I was just going to say, is that something about being mighty with a sword? Maureen said, my name means woman full of sorrow.
Oh, but a friendship, D'Amico.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sad, but you have friends.
Rose Blue said, I was born Mary, adopted, changed to Marie.
Oh,
So,
I'd be so curious to know, how old were you when that happened?
Amanda
Worthy of Love, yeah, from Latin. Yeah,
That's
Carol is about singing in Latin.
Yeah. Mine, Light. Also, they called me Luz when I lived in Mexico. My other name's Meadow.
Meadow. Oh, I love
really in Scotland roots. That's nice.
Oh.
So, and
names
yes,
are endlessly fascinating, aren't they?
they really are. And I think it's one of those things. It's names can set people up for success, or they can't. So, you know, they can do that. So I'll just put that up there. So
my children are so resentful because they all have Irish names, and I don't know how well you know, are familiar with Irish names, but think of Saoirse Ronan, the actress, and now spell her name right. Irish is just it's not phonetic the way it would be in English. The letters together, the combinations make completely different sounds, and they actually have their own script and stuff, so there's a whole thing behind it. But all of my children except one have Irish names, and they've never forgiven me. Some of them in their 40s are still holding a grudge.
Rose Blue said it happened at 6 months.
Oh, so you were little and, you know, no doubt didn't remember.
Brian said, Brian is high, noble, and strong.
Yeah, I do believe that comes from the Irish.
And Jane means Yahweh is merciful.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
JL, my name means gift from God.
You were menopause.
Oh, and she was a menopause baby.
That's beautiful.
Well, I don't know if she, but so.
That's so interesting.
My name means I'm retired. Go away.
Too funny. So
Vicky
funny.
said mine is easy, means victory.
Yes. Yes.
So, hi, Miss Charlotte. Oh, and Vicky said my daughter is Adrian, meaning dark and rich.
Well,
so
we can hope, because then she'll take care of you. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, okay. So now, are you ready to pick another number?
Certainly. Let's go with 2. Do I get to pick all the numbers?
You get to pick all the numbers. You are my guest.
I don't know if I can handle the power and the responsibility.
Well, I have the power to mute you and remove you from the studio. So if you have power,
might be a very smooth move. Okay, 2. What have you got?
Daydreaming.
This is my favorite topic. I talk about this all the time, Gerald.
I know. Tell us about it.
Daydreaming is an art. Daydreaming is a gift, and we're losing that ability because it's a punitive reaction. I used to get in trouble in school all the time. I'd be like this, and I do this a lot too when I'm having conversations or doing. I'll stare out the window and I'm shuffling, and I'll kind of lose track because it's a beautiful view. Daydreaming is a form of meditation. And in the same sense that when you sleep and you dream, your spirit is doing things. When you daydream, your spirit is doing things. It opens you up to information. If nothing else, it relaxes you. It helps to remove you from the hustle and I love daydreaming.
Linda said, "Oh God, me too. I got into so much trouble daydreaming." Yeah.
I should have a tattoo that, coming like how you have a balloon coming out of somebody's mouth in a cartoon, and it should be the head of a nun, and it should be a balloon that says, "Helen, are you with us?" Oh God.
Well, I wrote this down because I think, daydreaming, it's such an intriguing conversation and topic. I think people, I think there's a great missed opportunity for daydreaming.
Yeah.
So
the best kind of daydreaming is when there's a lot of stuff going on around you and you just cease to pay attention and you let your mind wander. If you're actively daydreaming, I don't think it's quite the same thing. But if you just sit and space out while there's all sorts of other stuff going around you, that's the most effective form of daydreaming.
Yeah.
It's definitely meditation, escapism.
Yeah, definitely meditation. And Kaylee said, it really is. I find I pull cards better when my brain is disengaged. My brain disengages. Yeah. So, Kristen Louise said, I was called after the Garbage Pail Kid, Spacey Stacy.
Well, you're obviously a child because I don't know Garbage Pail Kid. Pal, it's a pal, Garbage Pal. But do you know who this character is?
I don't.
You're old too.
I am totally old.
I know.
And Miss Charlotte said, daydreaming is the best way to manifest.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think some of the most, I would imagine scientists and famous artists and writers and musicians, they're the ones who have active daydreams because they're doing something. And then, I don't know about you, Helen, but suddenly, occasionally when all of a thing, it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, and now I know the answer to a problem. Because I wasn't searching for an answer. I was following the clouds, looking at the grass, all that stuff. So,
Stefan Schwartz, he's been on my channel several times. He's a writer, an older man who has had the most incredible life. For example, he was one of the very first people to kind of create remote viewing. He worked with Ingo Swann.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of the many things he did. He and I've covered several of his books, and in one of them I remember him talking about all of the famous inventors and artists and scientists. They didn't actively come up with their stuff. They either dreamt it or daydreamed it or fantasized it. You have to let go and release yourself. And what he was talking about is we live in a soup, a stew of information. Some people would call it energy. Other people, like the ancient Greeks, called it the ether. And if you're looking at it from a more factual, scientific plasma physics type of view, it's information in the field. But be that as it may, past, present, future, everything that ever was, will be, and is happening. No such thing as distance, no such thing as time. It's all accessible. And if you allow yourself to get into that connective energy, you never know what you're going to come up with. Einstein did it. Michelangelo did it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Rain said, right, daydreaming, we can escape from our reality. It brings us into our imaginations. So, yeah, daydreaming is creative also. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah,
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
And Garbage Pail Kids were the opposite of the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh, now see, I'm too old for this. My children liked Cabbage Patch Kids, the dolls,
Mm-hmm.
and only because we didn't have a TV. Because yeah, we were hippies. We didn't have a TV. They don't forgive me for that either. But my mother got them Cabbage Patch dolls, so that's how we knew about it. And I didn't know that there was like a response. I think I would have preferred the Garbage Pail Kids.
Debbie at Three Shifting Veils says, Tesla, the real one, said his ideas came from making contact through meditation.
Yes, he's one of the ones that Stefan talks about. Really interesting man. For a minute there, I did think you meant Elon Musk, and I was like, he's just so full of it, I can't even talk about him.
Yeah, gross. And
Gazer.
Yeah, gazer, because I was always daydreaming. Yeah.
And I have to make a remark that your little picture is a microscope. And that kind of proves the argument that this is true for scientists and inventors, that a lot of very deep thinking people who come up with innovations and stuff are always sort of out in spacey, right? Spacey.
Well, and isn't it interesting? It's like, the idea of there's a missed opportunity, because when I was away for the last week and teaching this immersive color confidence workshop, I was unplugged. I didn't check my email. I don't think it may be when I was laying down that I looked at YouTube or anything like that, but I consciously didn't check my mail. But it was really interesting, the fact that imagine what we would be doing if we weren't always plugged in.
I'm not always plugged in. This is the only thing. This is the only thing I've never been on all the other. As a matter of fact, I've been lying for years. I told people I don't do social media. I didn't know YouTube was considered social media, but I've never done all the other ones,
Right.
Because I'm aggressively anti-technology, not because it doesn't have a position in it's important. I would never deny that, but I think it's being used instead of, we're rejecting.
Yes, that's a very nice. Yes, that's a great way of saying it, because how often are we giving kids blank pieces of paper and crayons and just letting them make up their own stuff?
That's right.
So I think that's anyway.
I feel very lucky. My daughters, I've got a bunch of daughters, and the older two have children, and their children are young. But they're very lucky, because these kids are extremely lucky, because my one daughter is a dancer. I know it's hard to believe. It skips a generation. The other, and she's married to a painter, like an artist type painter. And they're very artsy and creative, and their children have really benefited from that. They're always being sitting down with art supplies, and I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
My other daughter, she and her husband just have the one child, and so, as with many hyper educated people who have one child, this little girl is just living the life. She just has so many opportunities. I'm jealous of her. So we don't see that in our family as much, but you still see it, because every night they want to be plugged into a movie. And I would say, well, what book are you reading before you go to bed? And they get read to all the time. So I had to have an argument with my children that, yes, you should read to your children, and they need to read themselves as an entertainment for themselves in place of screens, because when you're reading, you're using your imagination, you're forming pictures in your mind.
Yes.
You're making associations, creating neural connections. You need to do that. And they know I'm right, because I'm always right. So
Helen, Irish Granny Tarot. always right.
Always right. The most
We-
satisfying sentence in the English language.
You're right.
I told you so.
Well, I have to say, Jeffrey, he got me a T-shirt that says this. I remember everything you told me I said. And it's right. We have a great question from Plucky Heroine. Question: do you consider daydreaming as a kid the beginning of developing the clairs?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's how you tune into it. I think people who have that tendency will daydream more. 100%. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you with that. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And Linda said, reading saved my life.
Linda, me too. Absolutely, me too. I think a lot of people could say, well, you were a librarian, I bet you saw the same kids that were just desperate for the thirst.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it was great. What's interesting is when people join us on your channel on October 7th.
Is that that's the one you were talking about? Yeah, we're going to talk about libraries.
No, I'm also talking about the 21st when you're coming back on my channel.
Okay, great. Excellent. I'm delighted. And Rain's Kitchen, you know what? Let me recommend a movie. I usually hate movies made from books. They're always disappointing because I have such specific expectations in my imagination. I've read the book. I know what it's supposed to be like. And then, watch. I don't know if you've read the book, if this means anything to you at all. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Mm-hmm. I loved that book as a child. I didn't like any of the old versions of June Allison. What are they tripping? Come on. The new version of Little Women with Saoirse Ronan and Laura Dern and Bob Odenkirk is fabulous. It's beautiful visually. They did something very smart. They took the script right out of the dialogue in the book, word for word. And oh my God, every time I heard a sentence I remembered from my childhood, I was freaking out. I resisted watching this movie for quite a while, thinking it'll be like the rest of them. It's a beautiful movie. And it's made, interestingly, by the director of the Barbie movie.
Which, yes. Cool. Talk about a skilled director, and
with an opinioned voice. Yeah, absolutely.
What? People have opinions, Helen? In Hollywood, when did this happen?
Do you know somebody? I'll skip the identifying details, but somebody told me. Nobody told me. These people in Hollywood, they should keep their opinions to themselves. Actors have no business getting involved in politics. And this is somebody who voted for Ronald Reagan.
I was waiting for that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, and Water Lily said, yes, my kids were avid readers. They are all smart. How not all have common sense?
They don't have common sense.
Yeah,
well,
they don't have all common sense. I love it. And you're welcome, Plucky. We agree with you. Kaylee said, I've been told the whole overactive imagination is just the clairs showing themselves.
I absolutely agree. I have a daughter she's the only one of my children that did this. Funnily enough, I dreamt about her before I even knew I was pregnant. And I dreamt about her as she really looked. I knew it was a girl. I knew what she looked like. I knew some identifying features. And I cried because, no offense, she was going to be a Scorpio. And I'm a Taurus, and it can be difficult, right? As a parent, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
But she had an imaginary friend. She'd kill me if she knew I was talking about her. So I'm going to be careful here. She had an imaginary friend for 6 or 7 years. And I became convinced this was not her imagination. It was, I can't remember details exactly. She had a name for the friend that I will respect her privacy. I won't go into it. But this friend did all the naughty things and would get her into trouble for things. And we used to think, oh, isn't she clever? Make an excuse. Mm-hmm. I don't know. She's a very intuitive person. I don't know.
There you go. Maureen said, reading is my refuge and my escape from a chaotic childhood. Yeah. I
Maureen,
think,
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think it's so important. And kids still need an opportunity to read as an escape from from the chaos of their daily life.
That's right.
So,
Shut it out. Yeah.
And there's a lot of love for the Little Women with Laura Dern.
I'm so glad. Oh, I'm so glad people know it. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and
here's another thing. Here's another thing. Children also should be encouraged to read books that are too hard for them.
Yes.
That's stretching of your mind. I mean, I would skip the big words and try to figure out what they meant by context. You know.
Yes.
That's important.
Well, and my big thing is never make fun of somebody when they mispronounce a word.
No,
because they learned it by reading.
That's right. I mispronounced words till last week.
I am but you can help them pronounce the word correctly, but do it gently. But heck, if you know that word, good for you.
The very fact that it's actually been in your visual field at some point in your life is kind of a minor miracle, right?
Yes. Good night, Rain.
Oh, night. Wonder where are you, Rain? Why is it bedtime? Because it's not late here. So.
Well, Lorraine. I mean, no, not Lorraine.
Rain's Kitchen and Garden.
Rain. I can't remember where you live, but anyhow, good night. And
night.
So, okay, and a lot of love for books. Would you like to pick another number?
Yeah. Let's do 5. The number 5.
Well, let's talk about numbers. What do you think about numbers?
I don't think about them a lot. I do believe that you should add and subtract in your head. You should all have the times tables memorized. You should not depend on a calculator. Mm-hmm. There are very interesting relationships between numbers, like the number 9. The number 9 is absolutely fascinating. 9 is how does this work? I always forget how this works. So let's say 6 plus 3 makes 9. And if you put all the numbers together, the products are the same as I don't know how to explain it. Like 63 is 9 times, oh my God, 7, right? Is that right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can make that connection all the way up. 54 is 9 times, oh my God, 6. I should take my own advice and rememorize the times tables. Numbers are fun to play with, and they're not to be intimidated by. The way that they approach numbers in school is traumatizing.
Yeah. And just so that Rain can go to bed. Rain lives on the Atlantic coast 1 hour ahead, but I live like a farmer up at 5 a.m. So I need to get to bed by 9 p.m.
Well, I'm a night owl.
Yeah, so I think she's East Coast. Yep.
Yeah, that's Atlantic. It's like Nova Scotia. Yeah.
All of the multiple of 9s add up to 9.
Yeah. The 9, you can play with that number.
Vicky House said, I was fascinated by Dante's Inferno when I was 6.
Oh, did you have like that existential dread? You were trying to figure out what circle you were going to end up in, or?
I don't know. That's
kind of heavy. That's heavy, yeah, because that's not an easy read.
I think one of the great things about numbers is, and this is okay. So one of the things about numbers is there can be a lot of different meanings, and we can put a monetary value to a number, scientific, mathematical. We also put in a spiritual or a metaphysical approach to it.
When you do numerology, for example.
I do some birth numerology related to the tarot. and it reduces to one of the major arcana, and then that actually includes. It's like, so I am, by my birth numerology related to the tarot through Mary K. Greer, I am an 18-9, so I am a moon hermit. So all of the associations with the moon and the hermit card blend for me as well.
So do you add like the number for your month, the number for your birthday, and the number for the year all together till you get a 2-digit number, and then you make it a 1-digit number?
Yeah, yes, in a nutshell, 2-digit number. If it's higher than 22, you just get one number. You add the 2 digits together. And then, but if it's 22 or lower, both of those numbers are important. So if you add your birth month, day, and year, like old school math, you put it in a line, do it that way. What's the number that you get if you want to do that?
My number right now that I've added together for my birthday, 8.
Okay, so that would relate to, and what was it 16? No, was it?
No, it was 26.
Okay, so 8 relates to the tarot card of strength. So
you
have a lot of, you have a lot of perseverance. You are the person who you will figure out the best thing about a bad situation just to get you through it. So and strength really is about building a great relationship with the others around you, because in the strength card, oftentimes we see a woman opening the mouth of a lion.
Yeah.
There has to be a great deal of respect between the human and the animal.
Yeah. Trust.
So there is a great level of trust with that. So you can, there's a whole bunch of stuff to do with that, and contact me to get a private reading.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And here's a little tidbit about numbers that I found out recently. They have discovered, doing all the genetic studies that they've been doing, that our DNA contains crystal formations that actually are, because of their shapes, they can break them down into numerical codes. And interestingly enough, these numerical codes never happen randomly in nature.
Really?
Yep. This is the newest plasma physics. This is what they've discovered. So what you've got is some kind of language, some kind of knowledge stored in your DNA that was put there. Okay. I guess it begs the question, how, who did it, right?
Yes.
And that takes us all the way back to like Paul Wallace's books, Zecharia Sitchin's books, the Sumerian cuneiform, that we were hybridized. And Paul Wallace was told by the guy in charge in the Vatican of these sorts of beliefs, like the the master researcher, I don't know what he's called, some priest, told Paul Wallace, this story that you're telling in your books is 100% true. We were hybridized by advanced civilizations from elsewhere. We know this is true. The leaders of most important religions in the world absolutely 100% know that this is true, but they can't talk about it from the pulpit because people will lose their ever-loving minds.
Oh, yes, they will.
Yeah.
They will. So the other thing about numbers is do you, the question I have for you, do you consider 0, does 0 belong in our number system?
I think 0 is considered a debatable, I wouldn't use the word number, a debatable, what's the word? What's the word you use for numbers when you don't use the word number? There's a word, a feature, a thing. It is a number depending on how you look at it, and it's not a number if you look at it in a different way. So it depends on what your opinion is, what your frame of mind. And I think it comes from Arabia. I think that it was discovered, or it was a concept developed by the ancient people of Arabia. And it's one of the many things that they gave to Western civilization, along with medicine and, what is the word?
An integer?
Integer? Yeah. Oh, there it is. Integer. Yeah.
Yep. Couple of people.
Thank you.
So I think 0 is a number. I think there is, because nothing comes before something.
Well, it's a concept.
It is a concept.
Yeah.
And and that one I will, come for me, YouTube. We can have a conversation.
Oh no, it's like light and dark. You can't have light without the dark, because how do you describe if it's always light everywhere all the time? You have no contrast. So you need that absence to have something to understand. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we, because I think it's important thing to understand. However, I'm not a mathematician. I am not a scientist, nor do I play one on YouTube. And this is for entertainment purposes only. So
I'll tell you, I got in a car wreck my freshman year of high school and missed so much school that I essentially flunked algebra without actually taking algebra, because I was out so much getting better, And so I had to retake it as a sophomore and take geometry at the same time. It was a lot of fun. And I just hated it, and I resisted it really strongly. When you're a stubborn person, you just won't do what you don't want to do, And finally the time came when I realized that if I ever wanted to work anywhere in my life besides McDonald's, that I was going to have to graduate from high school. I was going to have to take this stupid class. And when I stopped resisting and I just offered myself up to the gods of algebra, I found out I enjoyed it. And I went on to take all these really hard math classes, except I still maintain that statistics is the worst thing ever invented by human beings. Hated statistics, because look, Gerald, everything is 50-50. It either will or it won't. It does or it doesn't. It's a yes or a no. All the rest of that stuff is nonsense. Who cares what the odds are? It's 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, the best chatters are truly bringing it, because Quintessa said, fun, useless fact, my 18th birthday, B-Day, legal to drink was on 7/7/77.
That's 28, right? Yeah, 28. So that's 10.
7/7/77. I think that's great. And Plucky reminded us, I'm not a techie, but aren't zeros vital to computer programming?
Coding language is 0 and 1s, right?
Yep. And,
look at me talking like I know what I'm talking.
I know. I'm so impressed.
That's
so impressed. Jacob Bush is here. Hi, Jacob. It's good to see you. I celebrated Mabon, or the equinox, with Jacob Saturday.
Oh, cool.
So, 0 is the most powerful number. Absolutely. It adds multiple and power when you add
parentheses. Yeah,
parentheses, multiply. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Oh, now we're in trouble. Now all the math nerds are coming out of the woodwork. We're not going to start understanding any of this.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I love me a math nerd.
Oh, me too. So, me too.
It's great. My husband, I make him do the tips because he does it. He's fun. It's fun to watch him when he does that. So the Greeks banned it, the Hindus worshipped it, and the church used it to
fend off heretics. Oh, God. Leave it to the Catholic Church. No offense.
Yeah. Well, and Froxy said, I loved geometry and I never learned algebra. I struggled. I wouldn't say I was in the advanced math classes. Okay. The classes that I took were the advanced placement classes the year after everybody else took them. So it was like level up, but all of my friends did them the year before.
Yeah.
I struggled. I worked really, really hard in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. When I hit geometry, I asked a simple question one time in math class, in geometry class. I went up and I said, I don't understand how you get from here to here for the geometric proof. And the teacher just said, you do this, and wrote something down. Light went off in my head. I mean, I completely understood it. I aced it, never had to study it, and I was tutoring my friends. It was so weird.
I had to study, but if you memorize the axioms and you memorize the postulates, geometry was like a puzzle. And when you would get a proof, I loved doing proofs because all you were doing was working backwards to get to the rules.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all you were doing. And if you could just remember the rules, it suddenly revealed itself.
Yeah.
But that meant you had to apply yourself to memorize from the beginning. And a lot of people don't like to do that. So, yeah, they make it hard for themselves. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dean James is here and says, howdy guys. I love numbers because they never lie. They always add up.
Ooh.
Boom. Boom. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And Froxy said, yes, Helen. It was like a puzzle. Loved all the angles.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And for me, it was one of these things. I'm a visual learner. Surprise. And so it was one of those things that it just helped for me.
Yeah.
So, but do you want to do another one?
Yeah, this is really fun. Let's do 8. 8. I noticed you don't have 0 there.
I didn't because I ran out of little cards. Ooh. Talk about mistakes.
Oh my God. Well, I'm the world expert. So you're asking the right person. My life is one endless series. How could you be human and not make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What's the biggest mistake you think you ever made? Without, I don't want to put you on the hot seat, but if you can talk about it.
Let me take a sip. This may surprise some people, but not going to graduate school when I had the support of somebody who was willing to be my mentor.
Gerald, that's exactly my thing too.
Oh, really?
I really loved literature, and I really would have loved to have taught literature on a college level. But my parents were old school. So I got out of college and I moved home, and I was really at loose ends. It was a terrible time in my life. I mean, sharing a room with my sister in my parents' house, and I've already been to college, already had a life. It was very difficult. And California at the time had free college education at the junior colleges. They were 4-year colleges, and you paid $25 student, what do you call that? Student union fee. That was it. It was free. And so I had been a science major, and that was a huge, gigantic mistake, but not as big as the next mistake. So I went to take classes for fun. I took the classes that I had missed, because when you're a science major, every class is like 2 classes, because not only do you have classroom, but you have laboratory. So you're talking about 8 hours a week of laboratory and then the lectures. So your time is never your own. And you don't have a lot of choices of, what did they call it when you just pick something? What are the classes that you just casually pick?
Electives.
Thank you, electives. So it's been a while since I've been in college. So I took some literature classes, and I had a literature teacher tell me, you need to do this. And I really wanted to, but my parents were, no, you need to have a way to make money that you can fall back on if something happens to your husband. That didn't exist. I wasn't but you need to be able to support yourself, and you need some way to make money, and you really should not. And it wasn't, they weren't paying for anything. It was just the weight of their opinion. I allowed that to get into my head. And I really regret, because I went to nursing school and I did very well, but I hated it because I hated the gender politics. Drove me absolutely insane. I could tell you stories. And I always regretted. That's my only regret really in life, that I did not pursue a higher degree in literature.
Yeah.
We could have been in the same classes.
We could have been. And Jeffrey, my husband, when you asked me that question, typed this in. Careful.
I was wondering about that. Was he still listening?
He's still listening. He's still listening. And I was curious if he wanted to go out to the Mexican thing tonight for late dinner. But I do have to point this out. Grace said, sending dirty and involved text to a lover who wasn't. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, see,
Yeah.
you're young. You're young because they didn't exist when I was of a dating age.
Oh my gosh. I am so glad that I was out and about back in the late 80s, early 90s, going to the gay bars, having all sorts of fun. And they didn't have cell phones to take photos. Let me tell you. I mean,
oh, I would have been one of those crazy girlfriends, that was like stalking you on the internet and stuff. I'm so glad that it didn't exist.
Yeah. My thing was, for me, that mistake of not doing that was because I was going to have to take the graduate entrance exam.
Yeah.
What is it? The GRE? GRE.
Graduate record exam, GRE, right?
Yes, GRE, something like that. And I was like I was not going to be able to pass the math and science. And to be honest with you, I got so caught up in my head, Helen.
Yeah.
I never even investigated if that was a requirement. That test was a requirement to get into the program that I was interested in.
Where were you interested in going?
I was interested in going into psychology, counseling, specifically Gestalt psychology.
Where?
At the Ohio State University.
Oh, it's a pity you didn't pursue that. You probably didn't need to. Well, psychology, they kind of fancy themselves sort of a soft science. So
yes. And it's interesting. Yeah. Because I had a bachelor's of fine arts and then going into that. So there had to be some other. But anyhow. But I think
live and learn. You don't regret it, do you? Now, I mean, it was an error, but it didn't ruin your life.
It didn't ruin my life. No. My life is great. I'm married to a wonderful man. Yeah. I had a great career. I have great friends. So, I mean, yeah. Froxy said about mistakes, isn't that how we learn?
Yeah.
It is, Froxy, if you actually pay attention to the lessons that you are having when you make the adjustments.
And I think a lot of it is in retrospect. It may take you a while to figure out, oh, that's what I learned 20 years ago. Yeah, I made plenty of my moments.
And mistakes. Yeah, I've made plenty. Yeah. My mom always told me I am from the school of hard knocks. I always have to learn things the hard way.
Yeah.
I also think about mistakes is, what do we do with them, in the sense of, how do we approach them? Do we go, oh, I made a mistake, and just, that just depletes us and makes us sad? Or do we go, well, I know that didn't work. Let's try something else, or something else. I mean,
I think it depends, I think if you make a mistake like that didn't work, let's try something else. That's a healthy approach, but there are mistakes you can make interpersonally where you feel shame or regret.
Yes, that's true.
That makes it very hard. Yeah, I've done and said things in the past that I still, I now understand on one level that was learning, and I would never repeat it. But you can't undo the harm you did. You can only learn from it. Yeah. And it's okay. I didn't kill anybody or anything like that, just.
Well, and I do think it's one of those things, the ability to, and I've learned this in having my own life experiences. It's okay to take a breath before I answer. And if I take a breath, it gives my brain and my heart an opportunity to go, is that really the right thing to say? Is that a good thing? to do, and just to help me have an informed decision.
Well, it's also what they call having a filter, and that's probably one of my biggest flaws is I speak impulsively. I can hardly wait to get things out, and sometimes I live to regret it. But at least now I'm aware of it. I wasn't even aware of it before. I blurt things out and I couldn't understand why people were upset. Now I understand. But I'm also 70 years old. It's high time. You know what I mean? I'm running out of time here.
Well, if I'm not making mistakes, I'm not expanding myself enough. I think mistakes are a great opportunity to expand my horizons and push my boundaries. Because when I'm doing my artwork and making my fabric paintings, I mean, sometimes I look at those and say, well, that didn't work. And then, in the next breath, Helen, I'm saying, but I know what will.
What will work. Yeah, it can actually push you down another path. Yes. The problem is when you're making the same mistake over and over.
Well, yes, isn't that just, that's stupidity.
I like that comment about some people think that the choice is taken in your parallel life. When I was a child, I used to torture myself. So I was a weird kid, and I used to sit and daydream in class, and I would think about things like, I could move that pencil to the other side of my desk, and if I do that, the whole course of my life will be completely changed. I used to play little mind games with myself.
Wow.
It's astounding that I'm not in one of those Hannibal Lecter masks strapped to a curtain. But this is so true. It's obvious that there are many of us, many of our selves leading other lives in parallel universes. That really blows my mind. Think about that a minute. Other Geralds off somewhere, perhaps trimming the mustache wrong, or
Well, yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. I think that's an interesting, and isn't there talk now, but that's a lot of times with all of the some of the what was it? Somebody used a term earlier today. The energetic weather reports that are going on. I mean, isn't that they're talking about?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's the idea of the sun's oh, Kaylee, help me out. It's the idea that the solar eclipses, the moon, all of the energy from the universe that's coming in, are those things that are actually currently opening multiple timelines, and there's timeline crossing over. That this is what part of is happening with the idea of the not escalation, but
ascendant.
Yes, the ascendant, the ascension symptoms. Are those
I don't know. That's just too much for my little brain. You're making my third eye hurt. That's so difficult for me to wrap my brain around,
Well, okay, let's change that subject. And Amanda Carroll said many hair dyeing mistakes.
I know. If I hadn't used that pink dye, I'd be in a completely different universe right now.
There you go. Yeah. Mistakes show that you are willing to expand and grow. We all know our safety zone will not ask us to change.
I'm gonna argue with you because I like to argue. I'm Irish, I do think that we are faced with choices, and we can make the wrong choice, and it may be outside of it may be an existential choice, or it may be a choice it's karmically not a good thing. We have this free will that allows us to make choices, and the expectation is that we're going to choose the right path, and sometimes we don't, and sometimes that's has to be addressed in a future life, So I don't know, safety zone. I'm not sure I don't know if I agree. Would you call that like a moral compass, or?
No, No, I understand. I understand what they're saying there. I think, the moral compass, that's an interesting. I don't know. That's a good one. I have to think about that
Reading.
a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about a happy mistake, where you make a mistake and it actually works out?
Well, that's called serendipity. That's luck. That's good luck. That
Yeah.
happens all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
JL said mistakes applying my own makeup as a teenager. JL, I had the same problem.
Hey, at least you got to wear makeup. My father wouldn't let me wear. You know what I did? This is extreme. So mid to late 60s. Who was the big fashion thing? Was Twiggy. Remember Twiggy? What was her significant feature? Her gigantic eyes, and she always lined them in the dark coal. My father didn't believe that good women wore makeup. Only, let me repeat it in his Irish accent, only whores wear makeup. And so I wasn't allowed to buy makeup as a teenager. So what I did was lock my bedroom door, and I had, honest to God, I had a little palette of the Crayola watercolors.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I went through that black watercolor like nobody's business, outlining my eyes and drawing little eyelashes like Twiggy. Like anybody was going to think I was Twiggy. Because just let me say this. I wasn't a 90-pound, flat-chested Twiggy, but not by any stretch of the imagination. But I had the eyes, and then I'd have to
you go.
it off before I, went down for dinner.
There you go. There you go. Oh, and I bet you didn't have a layer of the wrong foundation shade.
I only discovered foundation about 6 months ago, so
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you sort of yellow kind of.
Oh my gosh. Well, Helen, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more left. Shall we do them next month?
I would love to. Let's just go through them numerically. Let's do number 1.
You want to do it now?
Do you want to? Sure, I don't care.
Sure.
I have no life. Let's do it.
Make do and mend.
Make do and mend. Oh, yeah. I get all my clothes secondhand, as you could probably tell. There's a great online resource called Thread Up, THRED, no A.
Okay.
It's all little small letters, all one word, Thread Up. And they have men's clothes. And it's all gently used secondhand clothes. But the truth is, a lot of them are still with the tags on, because technically they're used once they're purchased.
Yes.
People buy them and then they don't fit, like spoiled girls, buy them and then they don't fit or whatever. And I've shopped there for years, and I've never ever gotten anything that was awful. I might have made a poor choice in shape or something, but always in good condition, and never smelled funny, never stained, never ripped. But a big believer in mending things. And one of the worst things that ever happened in this world is when they got rid of shoemakers, who fixed shoes at the mall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can still find a cobbler and shoe repair, but they're not as easily accessible.
No, and then shoes are all plastic, so they can't be fixed anyway.
Yeah. Making do and mending, I think, is a key thing for me, is because, first of all, stop putting stuff in the landfills. But then also there's this beauty in doing handwork and working with our hands too. Because back in the day, they made things to last a long time. You just needed to take care of it. You needed to oil your sewing machine.
Yeah.
You needed to sharpen your axe in order to be able to chop up your wood. So, and I think it's a great missed opportunity. But it also is this idea of making do. It's, well, what do I have that can do the same thing?
Yeah, I agree.
So instead of, I can have one thing that can do 5 things, I don't need 5 things that each do one thing.
Yeah. Well, and we've become a consumable type of society. Shame on Apple and Microsoft and all these people that you can't get things fixed. You know, your battery in your phone dies, you have to buy a whole new phone. What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah. Well, it's
Visible
consumerism.
mending is a
Yeah.
big thing now.
Visible mending is a big thing now. Yes. Yes. It's where it's
Welding.
yeah.
Go
What?
ahead. I was gonna say welding. I don't know. I've seen an awful lot of people with big old holes in the knees of their jeans, and it looks ridiculous. Why do you want to look like you can't afford to sew a rip?
Well, and Dean, I've watched some of those videos, and I've done some of it myself, where you actually mend on a sweater the hole, and you make that mend something beautiful.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
it's like the kintsugi, I think it is, the Japanese art of fixing broken pottery with gold. Because it's a fascinating thing. And I, at one point, that actually came up as a topic, as something that I would love to have somebody who could do that come and talk about it on my channel. I've not found anybody, but it's the idea of this is that because it's been broken and then it's been repaired, they make the repairs, they elevate them by putting gold on them. It makes it even more valuable because it has been broken and repaired.
Well, in the 60s, we would repair holes in the knees of our jeans or the hems of our jeans with embroidery. We would hand embroider over repairs. Like you'd put a patch, but you would embroider all around it and it became a thing of beauty. I actually have a thing hanging on my stairs that I made my husband when we were first dating. He had a pair of jeans that had this weird feature. I don't know what to call it, but all the way up the sides of both legs were these sewn squares that overlapped a little bit and went all the way up, and it was sort of an arch at the top. It's the strangest thing. I embroidered them like they were the windows of an apartment building, you know, a pie cooling, a
I
cat
love
window.
that.
And I actually, for a gift for him a few years ago, I dug them out and I had them framed and hanging. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. And Gray is heading off. Bye. I'm glad you were here. You're late for a thing. Well, we're fun. We may be funner.
Oh, snap.
I mean, come on. So, no, but this has been wonderful. I am going to say we'll do the next 4 next time that we're here.
Okay.
I'm still hoping that maybe Jeffrey will want to go and get something to eat or a beverage, an adult beverage or something.
Well,
like
you
that.
must live, you know, it's after 5 o'clock here. Everything's closed. There's nothing.
No, yeah.
A small town.
So, every Saturday you have videos that are out about your books, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you
call
that?
Synopsize a book. I usually have figured out that 2 videos about an hour long is what most people can handle. And so the books often are divided up over a few weekends. Depends on the length of the book, of course. And then take the opportunity to try to get the author or some expert or somebody related to the topic to come have a little chat about the book.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. It's called Saturday Book.
Saturday Book.
Yeah.
And anything else special that you want to tell people that you've got coming?
Well, check out my Substack. If you need advice, please, I need problems.
I love that. So, well, you need problems, and you know we could probably find you a few. So, right?
I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you so very much for being here. Tomorrow is Back and Forth with Jamie and Gerald, and then just subscribe to all of the channels so that you know what we've got going on. So, all right,
Gerald,
bye,
Your
What?
shows are so clever. The names of them and the top, they're
Oh.
so clever. I love that. It's wonderful. Thank
Well,
you very much. This has been so much fun.
Well, thank you. And I'm hoping
We
that you
had
will.
fun.
Yes, we totally had fun. I will hope you will come back. And everybody take care. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.